Yeah, so I'm Alex Diehl. Hello, everyone. And I played in season one of Star Trek Picard. I played F8 and all the other A500 androids on the Mars space station. And then in season two, I played Harvey primarily, and then also another few A500s that were in Q's alternate dimension where Picard was evil. In season one, this was all very hush hush, very under wraps. They had code names for everything. I didn't even know officially that it was Star Trek, but it said androids. I think they even got rid of the word synth because they were like, that's giving away too much. Um, but I was like, okay, Android. What's the only Android I have a reference for? And I had watched a lot of TNG because I got hired for the 50th anniversary of the original series to play Data in like a Mac Cosmetics installation that they put at San Diego Comic Con, at STLV 50, and a bunch of the other cons around there. And that was actually, by the way, my only other experience I'd ever had with conventions before coming here. So for that, I had to really, kind of mimic his. I mean, I didn't have to speak much. This was mostly a modeling gig, but I did have to give some sort of his physicality. So I watched a lot of TNG to kind of get that. And since it had been a couple of years before and they didn't really give any guidelines or framework for what this character was going to be, I was like, hey, I kind of already have this one thing semi prepared. Why don't I go in using that as my baseline? And luckily enough, it happened to be kind of right on the money. So I don't even think my current agent was aware that I had done that. So when I got the audition, I asked, should we let them know that I've played Data in this Mac Cosmetics thing? Or do you think that they're going to think, like, I'm a crazy fan? He's going to freak out when he gets on set. We can't, like, we got to get someone who's chiller and calmer about this. So in the end, we didn't even tell them. But then once I was on set, I told everyone, and they were like, "Oh my God, why didn't you tell us? We love bringing people in." Apparently, they love casting fans and people who really connect with the fandom. So that would have worked to my favor, but luckily it would all worked out anyway.
So there's something about you that speaks Android to the
Yes.
casting directors.
Yes.
I mean, I'm looking at you. I don't think it, but I'm just saying. And casting directors think Android.
So I did have a lot of ballet experience. And then I shifted from that into yoga. So I am very aware of my body. And a lot of people often say that I have good posture. And I was able to kind of create a really specific physicality. So I think that that was it. I'm hoping that they don't think I'm just like naturally
You're an Android.
soulless and emotionless. I had started dance really young, gave it up because I was bullied a lot in elementary school, which happens a lot to guys in ballet. And then I found it again in high school. And because there are so few guys in ballet, they really fast tracked me and they put a lot of effort into me, a lot of time. I got a lot more opportunities than I think I would have if I was a girl because, just numbers wise, they need men. So that really helped push me along. I think that ballet, not as much. Ballet gave me a lot of body awareness and body control, but yoga really taught me how to find neutral in my body, in my breath, and kind of like still my mind. So that was able, because my synth is nowhere near as sophisticated as Data or anything like that. He's a pretty rudimentary. So I think that really helped to kind of strip away the quote unquote human elements. And yeah, I think yoga was essential to that, to just, let everything kind of fall away and let the other thing come to the surface. But another thing that I did is I really tried to I tried to get into the mind of what the programming would be for my synth. So I was thinking, okay, say there's a auditory stimulus over here. I turn my eyes to check what it is. Oh, I need to assess it a little more. Then I'll turn my head. Oh, now I've assessed that I need to go and approach it. So then I'll turn my body and then start to walk. So instead of just kind of going a general route of like, this is a robot voice and being very stiff, I was like, clearly they're humanoid enough that they can have movements, but there's just something that's not quite human or organic about it. So I have to think of not reacting to these stimulus the way a human would, but reacting the way a program would. And I'm not a programmer, so I'm just making it up on a lot as I go. My parents were big TNG fans, so also the fact that I was able to work with Sir Patrick Stewart, dream come true for them. Now they never will question why I've made these choices. Exactly. And also, everyone's so amazing. Everyone else I've met who's been a part of it, everyone who I've met at this convention, everyone who I've done podcasts with, I just love being a part of this community. So it was interesting because I played the whole race of A500 synths. So they tried to make little subtle differences. If you really pay close attention, you'll notice some are a little more matte, some are a little more silver, some are a little more gray, some are even have some gold specks in them. So one person recognized me from my voice, actually, because she heard me talking and she said, "That's you." And she had actually, this was crazy, she had seen me at the 2016 STLV 50 one as Data, and then she saw me in Picard and she was like, "I bet that's the same guy." So she went and did research and found that I was the same guy. And then I guess she didn't put two and two together that I was going to be a guest here this year. And then she heard me talking to someone else and she came over and she told me that whole story. And I was like,
That's amazing.
whoa. I was in the Star Trek Online, one of the games, as a battle pet. So that basically means you can't play as me, but you can use me as a pet to help you out in your battle. And that was so fun.